So this is the second building, so the reasons that this was built second. First, we needed to have a classroom. We needed to have a place for our worship area because we were worshiping underneath the same trees where I was tenting under.
The historic location.
After my tent was moved, that was the first place for Sunday services. Classrooms, worship service, and then also building the library. So early on, the idea was that the Lutheran School of Theology would not just offer a degree for pastors, but that since the money is running out, and that's why we're building the sustainable school, we're also going to need professors, African professors. So how can they get their bachelor's, master's, and PhD? So I contacted the Department of Education in Kenya, asked for the different requirements for a university. And they said one of those requirements is you have to have an academic library. Well, what does it mean, academic library? Well, you have to have at least 30,000 books. Okay, well, now that's just a mathematical equation. You know, what's the average size of a book? How many books in a bookshelf? How many bookshelves? What size building do you need for 30,000 books? That size. So we didn't have 30,000 books at that time. We do now. They have not all been cataloged yet. But thanks be to the donations of all the different churches and individuals across the United States, they sent 2 shipping containers of books over. So we're in the process of cataloging them. But at the beginning, when this was built, we had only had about between 4,000 and 6,000 books. So we stored those upstairs, and then in the center here, this was the worship area until just this past year. And then on the side is where we had the classrooms. And then also part of the design, it was also always planned for there to be a courtyard here, and they have the classroom building here, the cafeteria there, and there's a future plan to have a primary school over there. And those 4 buildings, we would collect the rainwater. So you can see the big pipes coming down from the corner to collect the rainwater. And then this reservoir holds 900,000 liters of water. And then the reason this courtyard and this place was chosen was because then east of here, there were very few stones in this area. That's where the garden was going to be. So if the garden was going to be there, we need to have the water to be able to pump to the garden for drip irrigation. So now you can see all the water tanks out there. So that plant is now taken root. So there's a pump on the corner there that pumps and fills these tanks. So in the morning time, when the sun is there, we're not connected to any power grid because there was no power grid when we moved out here. So everything's solar. So in the morning time, we get the sun to pump the water either up to the rain reservoir or up to the main reservoir for human use, or from the rain reservoir to the tanks. And then the evening time, when it cools off, is when the spouts are opened, and then the drip lines water the garden. So now you can see how the garden is developed over the years, and you can see the students doing their contribution towards the work of the campus, and so that we are sustainable.